Whoa. Whoa.
Hey, everybody, I'm Ty.
Hey, welcome to High Version. The name's Ty. I hate horror movies.
Well, that's just really hurtful. Hey, guys, welcome back to another bonus episode. Sorry, we haven't done one of these in a while. In fact, I think the last bonus episode we dropped was the live show from Kansas City that we put up on Patreon. So it's been about a month. So thank you so much for hanging
we had
with
some
us.
Summer vacations.
Yeah, well, Mike,
I'm glad you got to go on vacation.
Yeah, I mean, Paige and I still had to work, but you know, that's
Paige
fine.
had to travel for a lot of work.
Yeah. Yeah, I went to Rhode Island during this time. You went 9 different places, Paige, it seems. But yeah, so we're doing a bonus episode today. I think we should start off with some of the weirdest questions that we didn't answer during our anonymous AMAs that we all 3 did on Instagram yesterday. And we answered a shitload of questions. I think I answered like 50. Paige, you probably answered about the same. And Mikey, I'm not sure. You answered a lot though. But
do you want me to start?
Sure. Yeah. Why don't you start?
I like it. I like this app because you can check. You can tell which ones you didn't answer because they don't have the green checks or whatever.
Yeah. So like it looks like this, right?
Yeah.
And the ones without the green checks are the ones I didn't answer.
Here's the first one I did not answer is, when are you flying me to Nashville for our date?
Oh wow, Mikey! I didn't realize that you would get serious with an anonymous person.
I don't know if that's a real person or a fan, like a real person from my life that I asked out and didn't follow through with, or like a random question. So,
how many people are you asking out and then them accepting and you just not following through with? Is that a common occurrence?
Well, they compound over the years.
Okay, that's fair. All right. That definitely is a very strange question to answer. Well, and you didn't answer it, right?
I did not. I answered most of my questions.
I don't blame you.
Most of them are personal life related that I didn't have to answer, like very personal.
Yeah. So let me see. The first
sorry,
one
I'm coughing. I had water go down the wrong pipe, and I'm still sorry.
Yeah. No, that's no problem. The first one I didn't answer was, as a man of many one-liners, did you ever try a pickup line on Natalie when you first met her or started dating? If so, what was it? And I didn't answer this one because when we first started dating, when I first met her, she was dating somebody else. So,
I forgot about that. And I was like, why wouldn't you answer that? And then I was like, oh.
Man, there's a lot I want to say about all that.
So, she was dating Mikey at the time. And no, it was somebody else on the podcast. But but anyway, so I just didn't, I didn't answer it. Yeah, it definitely was. I just didn't answer that. Although I probably could have. I don't really use one-liners when I'm like flirting with women. I usually just like have a real conversation with them.
Yeah. That tends to work best. I was.
My name's Todd. Like, what makes you tick on the inside? Blah, blah.
What was the tick on the inside? What
makes you tick on the inside?
Oh, okay. Yeah. I don't understand myself when you talk as me. I'm like, I don't recognize this voice at all.
That's our experience all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why the listeners have to turn subtitles on when listening to the podcast.
My second unanswered question is from my mother. When are you going to come visit your mother?
I do love that it is an anonymous question app and your mom made it super clear it was her. I love that.
That's great.
Pages are going to get like dark. I'm just going to warn all the viewers out there and listeners that pages they're dark.
Yeah, mine are kind of dark. I'm going to try and keep it light. This one, I know I showed you and Mikey, but it just says, what is your bra size?
Yeah.
And I had gotten a lot of questions about plus size fashion. So if you want to know about it, they're still up for a few hours today.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that makes sense because I would say you are a very well dressed person.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. And so there was a part of me that was like, is this someone who wants to know for plus size fashion reasons?
Yeah.
Or is this someone being creepy? And I was like,
someone who is perverted.
Yeah. And so I did not answer it. Although I don't have a problem with people knowing. I just was like, I don't know who I'm playing into with this. but I'll tell people that it's a 42FG. That's fine. But yeah, so I wasn't sure. So I didn't answer that one.
You're okay with people knowing, but you're not okay with helping someone else, like, masturbate to it or whatever. I get that. That makes complete sense.
Yeah.
I would err on the side of caution with everything.
Yeah, I would definitely err on the side of caution as well.
There's one. I just got to find it again.
I've got my next one lined up. All of mine they're similar. Total crush on you, but you ignore my DMs. What can a girl do? LOL.
Oh, Mikey, I have a follow-up question.
Yeah.
What can a girl do?
I guess I don't know, man.
Do we want to get into a serious conversation about why the nature of the relationship between people who listen to the podcast and us, and why it can be uncomfortable?
I think we've done that on bonus episodes before. I would say there's a lot of hidden folders and social media platforms where I don't see a lot of DMs. So I apologize in advance. I'm just going to go ahead and glance over that question. Also, if you come off like a serial killer, I might think you're a serial killer.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I don't get as many of those. I think just because we talk about Jake a lot. So people
I don't get a lot of those either because we talk about Natalie a lot. But those are my message requests right now.
Oh yeah.
I'm sure it's all the same for all of us. We all have a shitload of
I have a ton of message requests because they also count as story responses.
Yeah.
So if I ever look in that folder, I just see a bunch of emojis, and so I don't really. There's not much.
I rarely check it either. Yeah.
I checked into one the other day because it looked at someone. I got a notification, and it was someone from Iran saying that they were big fans of the show and they listened from Iran.
That is super
cool. Movies. It was really cool. It was a cool little conversation I had.
There are one Iran listener.
Yay. I would say, and I'm not looking to date and have no plans to date in the near future.
Oh, please no.
Yeah. It is not, it's very difficult when you are someone that has people listen to you or watch the things you do and engage with your content to initiate a real life relationship with those people, because they only know a version of you.
Yeah.
And that's never going to change. You only hear the parts that we edit and put out. And so there is kind of a weird barrier. I get it with stand-up a lot where people are like, I want to be your best friend. And it's like, well, you saw me for 20 minutes and you know everything that I was willing to tell you in that 20 minutes. And I know nothing about you. So you think you would be great friends with one solitary version of me that you saw. You don't know me personally, and I don't know anything about you. So this is already in imbalance as far as a relationship goes. And there are some people that maybe you meet in person a few times and you end up having a friendship or something with them. But especially just sliding into somebody's DMs like that, I would say I would almost never respond to something like that. Just because it's not a great start to a relationship in general. So I'll put that out there. I'll be the bad guy and say that, but yeah.
I mean, I think we all.
I also think you probably have weirder DMs than I get. A lot of you're really funny and nice. You would be fun to date, which is really polite sliding in the DMs.
Yeah, sure.
I would assume that the difference of our questions has been so great. I would assume your DMs are also a little different.
Yeah.
This is, which brings me to my next one. Would you watch Cujo or other classics as porn? And this seemed a lot weirder at first, but the more I think about it, the more we joke about porn parodies as classics. And I'm like, maybe this is not as weird of a question as I thought initially. But I think it was just that they chose Cujo. And I'm like, if it's a porn about Cujo, that sounds like bestiality, and I'm not on board.
Or it could just be in the furry community. You don't know.
That's true. That'd be different. Oh, maybe that's why, because of Tony the Tiger.
Yes. Yeah. That's why I thought so. That's what I was thinking too.
Oh, that makes sense. I
don't want to watch that. I don't want to watch that at all.
The answer is a resounding no.
I did get one that said, "What are you wearing?" And then one of my friends from college just fessed up and she was like, "I wrote that." And I was like, "You're a pervert."
Is she the one who was always like, "When are you going to fly me to town so we can go on our date?"
No.
Oh, okay.
Definitely not.
So I don't know why I didn't answer this one. I may have just missed it. It said, will you guys ever cover When Harry Met Sally? It's one of my favorites.
For sure.
And I've been begging for it. Also, Say Anything or Benny and June. And I'll say this, Say Anything is a movie that we've talked about doing, but it's hard to find streaming.
Yeah.
And obviously we've talked about When Harry Met Sally. We briefly discussed doing that for our 100th episode, but we decided to go with Romancing the Stone. And when I first slid into Natalie's DMs after she stopped dating my friend, actually my friend broke up with her. And a few months later, I slid into her DMs with a Say Anything reference.
But you also had already met her in person. Like that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like we had hung out twice, I think.
It's Better Off Dead is the one that we talk about doing all the time that doesn't have streaming options.
That's right. Yeah. Still Cusack. Yeah.
Still Cusack.
I did not answer this one because it was less of a question and more of like a discussion topic. Thank you for your honesty and wanting a real deal relationship and moving beyond just hooking up. I relate to it. You make me feel less alone in the search.
Oh.
Which is really sweet. But unfortunately, it's not a question, so I'm not going to answer. Get that shit out of here.
I had a lot of ones like that were like, thank you for being confident and fat. And I'm like, you're welcome. But it does make me happy every time people are like, I wore a crop top because of that. I'm like, yes.
I mean, Paige, I don't think it's I think it's awesome that people see you that way. And you very much are super body positive and very vocal about it.
Yeah, I would much prefer those messages.
Yeah.
Than some of the other ones I got.
Show me your feet.
Show me your feet.
I did get that. Or someone asked when I was going to start an Only Feet page. And that's, I actually sort of did a callback to one of Paige's answers.
Yeah, I did answer that one. That was asking for my OnlyFans one. That's not the only OnlyFans one I got, but like that was the first one. And I just put the Basement of the Alamo a la Pee Wee Herman. And that's why I said the Basement of the Alamo for that question. So my next one was, would you ever have fans on as special guest co-hosts? And the answer to that is no. Yeah, I'll be real about why. Because we found this out the hard way a couple times on Cult Podcast, and in some cases didn't air them. A lot of people think that it is very easy to podcast and you can just pop yourself behind a microphone and it comes out, and that's not the case. I mean, we do this multiple times a week and have been for years. And
for 4 years for me.
Yeah. So there's a comfort 5 coming up on 5 for Cold Podcast.
Shit. Okay. Yeah. That's right. You guys started about 6 months before us. You're right.
Yeah. And so there's a comfort level with both us as a group, but also just being in this mindset and kind of being on for that time frame. And a few times we have tried to be like, well, this person seems really cool and they're a fan. And then they're not used to it. And it doesn't come naturally for everybody. And even people who are like, I could totally nail that. There's a learning curve. And especially if it's like your first time doing it. Yeah. It's rough. And for some of the other people we've had on, it's rough for guests.
We just don't know each other that. I mean, we have a very comfortable relationship, but even, it's hit or miss. It can be hit or miss sometimes.
Well, and that's also why, because Cult Podcast has had a lot more guests than Horror Virgin has, just because of the way things have shifted and people being out of town or
more cults have had guests.
Whatever.
I get it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. We specifically try to look for people who either have their own podcast and have had it for a while. Yeah. Because we assume that they're going to kind of come to the show with a certain level of professionalism and understanding of how this goes. But also be stand-up comedians, because we're like, at minimum, they're going to try to be funny because they're nervous. And that tends to work out. But the other thing that people don't think about is we record remote, always have. Yep. And we record remote with super high-tech equipment. Like, we are using top-of-the-line podcast shit. Most people don't have that at their house. Right. Like, that's not the norm, and so
no, I mean, and why would they? Because I mean, these microphones alone are really nice microphones, and they're I think really cheap for what they are, but they're $400. And so like, if you can't spend $400 to be a guest on an episode, like, that's completely understandable. I wouldn't. Yeah,
no one would. But I mean, that's crazy. I mean,
but everyone listening right now is a Patreon member, so they know that I am super picky about how shit sounds, and like the professionalism of the podcast is very important to me. So like, and just to sort of piggyback on everything Paige is saying, like, I don't want to put the shows in a position where we put out bad content, right? Whether it's like a bad performance of a guest or even us because we're not used to that guest being there, or audio speaking. I don't want it to be bad, but if you want a real life example of this, when Clint left the show in episode 20, we did like random guests that were just like local because we didn't have the capability of recording remotely.
Right.
So like, if you listen to some of those episodes, I think it's between 21 and 26. Some of them are fine. Some of them were a nightmare situation, and they were very difficult to edit in a way that makes it sound like we didn't actually hate the person who was in Jen's like bonus room that we were recording in. So like, I don't want to be in that situation again. And then of course we got Mikey to come on for episode. I think it was 26 was your first, and you started full time like 32 or something like that. But when Mikey came in, it was so perfect from like Jump Street. I was like, okay, this has to be like the lineup going forward. Right. And Jen was like, she didn't know Mikey. So like Jen was like a little more reserved about it because Mikey was a friend of mine, you know?
Right.
So like, I know your personality and I know you're responsible and all that shit. And so Jen wasn't sold, and then we had to like try out Mikey for.
I did a Christmas tryout.
Yeah, it was like all of December. He was on every episode, and then I was just like, "Can we please keep him?" And Jen was like, "Yeah, he's great. Let's just keep him." So, but like during that time, it was very stressful. So
I mean, that's part of why Cult Podcast has not gained a third host again, because there's a lot that goes into it. We didn't want someone where this was their first podcast, because that's too much of a learning curve for somebody, because they're managing not only the volume of work that we do and the episodes that we record, but also the interaction with fans is huge. And it's a huge part of the job. And so we were specifically looking for someone who had either had a podcast that we liked and either wasn't doing it anymore or was willing to take on another one, but also was willing to commit to the amount of work that it takes to be on a podcast that is A, weekly, and B, has that big of a fan base that requires that much attention. And there are very few people out there that fit that bill that are either not already attached to a podcast and don't want to take on another one, or B, able to jump in and manage and jive with us as a group. So that's part of why it's been guests and a lot of just me and Armando, because it's not easy to find people who easily slide into a show.
Yeah,
it's actually helped me with work a lot, because I've done a lot more media stuff with my new program, and being able to turn on and know like a little bit about production side, and like, you know, it's kind of really helped me a lot be more comfortable public speaking. But it's like public speaking in a different way, because you're just like looking at a camera or like looking at a Zoom call.
Yeah. For me, I really just need someone to have created content that I like and respect. I don't really necessarily care how big their following is, but if they put out quality content and it's something that I would like to like collaborate with that person, then I'm more apt to do that. But if you don't already do that, it's really hard to jump on and be like show ready on a professional level. Like that is, I think, an unfair thing to ask just a listener to do.
Yeah.
Now, I will say this. Oh, go ahead, Paige. Sorry.
I was going to say, like, episode 20, whole different ballgame. Like, you know, that's a little,
because our listenership was like 150 people.
Right. You know, and that's part of like when Andrea came into Cult Podcast, that's about where we were. I think it was like, sorry, I think we were in like the 30s, give or take. And it was a lot easier to join at that point than it would be to join now, you know? So like, it gets harder to pop in the longer the show goes.
Yeah. Which is why we typically, when we do have guests on, they are guests that have other horror podcasts or like true crime podcast, or, you know, Crystal, who came on, that may have been Romancing the Pod, but still, she also was on Black Heart Rehab with you. She's had a stand-up. So like, she knows what she's doing. So like, that is sort of the prerequisite, I think, to be a guest. I did see someone asked a question that was similar to that one, but it was, would you ever do like, have a fan like call in type thing? And that's something I'm way more open to doing. Like if we did like a bonus episode for the feed.
For like a call-in show?
Yeah, because there are
as
like
long as
apps,
it's not live, I think it would be good.
Right. Yeah, you can't be live. Holy
there are
shit.
apps you can use to do that sort of thing where they can like literally not call in, but they just like click a link and then they record their message and then we respond to it.
Choose.
Like that's something I am way open to doing if that's something that people want. I didn't answer that question because I was busy and just didn't get to all of it yesterday, but that's something I'm more open to doing.
Right. Yeah. And I have friends that did a version of that, not live, but not super edited, and shit gets weird fast. Yeah. So you definitely need one where you can pick the messages that go through.
Oh, and I would. Yeah. Like, I mean, nothing we put out is not edited, right? So like everything we do, I spend a lot of time meticulously editing. And one of the things I tell guests when they come on is I will treat you very well in the edit. Like I'm never going to make you look like a fool. It's not my goal to make you look like a fool. I only succeed and the show only succeeds if you look awesome. So like that is something that I would hold, or that was something that I would do for the people leaving the questions as well. Like if the question makes you come off like racist or stupid or whatever, I'm just not going to use it. Right.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So do you guys have any other ones you want to share?
I mean, most of mine were mean and sad. So
I assumed that a lot of yours would be like sexual in nature. When I told Natalie I was doing the anonymous AMA, she was like, I can't do that because the majority of my because she has almost 100,000 people that follow her on Instagram, but most of them are like older dudes that are sort of gross. And so she would never do this.
That's what my message request folder is like, is a lot of people being like, I can be your sugar daddy. And I'm like, I'm not interested.
I can be your sugar daddy.
But
I can't wait till your album drops, Mikey. It's going to be awesome.
No, mine,
drop off a cliff.
Mine had some sexual stuff, but it was a lot more bullying than sexual stuff. Like for as many messages I got from people that were like, I love that you're fat and fun. There were a lot that were like, lose weight, fucking fatty, and so I did not respond.
You did respond to one of those. Yeah, which I was honestly glad you did. I feel like that, and standing up to that is sort of important for people to see, like that this behavior is not at all cool, and you need to like fucking cool it because you look like an ass. Like I think the way you handled it, even though you were a little forceful in your language, I think you came off super great in that, and that person came off like a douche.
Well, and that's why I did the one, and I was like, I don't need to do 40 of these.
Right. Oh God, I'm sorry you got that many. Jeez.
Oh no, I didn't get them. That was
okay.
But
the last one
I didn't do more than one.
Yeah.
The last one I did not respond to because it came in while we were recording earlier. What is wrong with the gals in Nashville? I date you in a heartbeat, although I have appropriately sized teeth.
Well, I mean, I think that's a no then, right?
Yeah, get out of here.
Get out of here with your appropriately sized teeth.
I had someone who sent me an anonymous message asking if I would like help editing the podcast. And then they gave me their sort of resume. And I was like, well, this would be great, but I don't know who you are for me to reach out to you because this is anonymous. Right. So if that was
reach back out to Todd.
Let's continue the conversation in a medium in which I can talk back to you.
Yeah.
This one literally just came in. So, and I haven't answered it yet. So I guess it qualifies. Although I may answer it. Would you guys ever do a TV show season or limited series for either podcast, like a season of American Horror Story, Haunting of Hill House, for example? And I'm going to go ahead and say no.
Just
maybe for Patreon content, but
yeah, but even then it's just time wise, because especially with something like a Hill House where your episodes are like an hour long, that's essentially a second almost full episode.
It would be. Are you kidding me? Like how much would we joke about the breakneck lady like that?
Much.
I mean, I don't even know how a joke would come out of that. I'm just so confident in Mikey's ability to make it a joke. So it would be an hour and a half long episode about.
I think we would come up with a joke in breakneck speed.
So 8 episodes. Great.
I love it. That was amazing. Okay, so and if you want some, I don't know. Literally, this was years ago because it was before we moved into the house. But
you guys
Natalie and
Haunting of Hill House.
Did the first 5 episodes of Haunting of Hill House, and then just I can tell you why we stopped because the last episode dropped right before we started production on Romance in the Pod.
Yes.
So I know I no longer had time to produce, and they were like video breakdown episodes. And you also like watch through episodes where like we started and you can watch us watch the episode. Like I put a lot of work into those, and I think they came out great, but it was probably 4 hours of work.
There's just time constraints.
And I just couldn't do it when I was producing both Romance in the Pod and
that's something I would consider if this was our day job. You know, like there's a whole bunch of stuff that it's like if I did not spend 40 hours a week on a different thing, then there's a whole bunch of stuff I could do.
Yeah, I would do a lot.
I like how the different thing is the thing you pay your bills with.
Yeah.
But if this does grow, and hopefully it will, like I know that occasionally, well, I mean, I know Paige and I definitely want this to be our full-time job. Mikey will go back and forth, but like every week, usually on like a Wednesday or Thursday afternoon, I get a message that says, when can we go full-time with the podcast?
I have a very high stress.
Mikey, I know you do. I could not do what you do, so I understand. Like, I don't understand why you're not more gung-ho about, yes, this has to be our full-time job. Let's do this immediately.
I think it would be really fun to have a more of a stress-free or different kind of stress life where I would love to produce more content and stuff. Cause I think it's unexpectedly how much I really love it. And then unexpectedly, like you can still help people through it, through that kind of content, which I don't think that was an aspect I was expecting when I started.
You touch more people through the podcast with what you're saying than you ever would be able to in person, just because of the reach.
I went to a suicide conference and they're like, a dog will save more lives than you. So we just need to like go from there. Like
you mean just the fact of adopting or owning a dog?
Or just like, yeah, dogs will save way more lives than therapists this year. So that's where the training started. I was like, this guy's cool. I like this.
As someone who has two beautiful dogs. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
But I'd love to do like video game streaming more, or different movies, like different genres. I mean, all that stuff's super fun. Or more video content. I think I like us like.
I would definitely do more video content. Like we've been talking about doing a pool bonus episode where Mikey and I like set up at his pool and we do a bonus episode from there. I really want to do that, but it's just a matter of finding the time to do that, because that takes me hauling cameras and equipment to Mikey's place and then setting it all up and then getting in the pool with Mikey, which is definitely going to be gross. And then going home and editing all that down into something that's like worth watching. Yeah.
Oh, I think people need to understand. It's like, we don't just have day jobs. We have like, we're all like decently like invested and successful in our day jobs that are more, it's more involved than just like clocking in at 9, getting off at 4.
Oh yeah. You know? I think we're all salaries. So like, and I know when we're recording, Mikey will very occasionally, but it happens almost every episode. Well, you're going to call from one of your counselors and they're like, hey, here's the situation. I need help. I need to know what to do. And so you have to like walk them through it. So we'll like take a break for 5 minutes while Mikey tells them how to handle this. I don't want to get into what they might be handling.
Whatever situation that might be.
Whatever it is. I think there's also a lot of times, if you've never made content before, if you've never had to, you watch stuff on YouTube or you listen to stuff and you're just like, how hard could it be to make that? And it's like, hours and hours of work. Like it's so much work and so much expensive equipment and so much tedious editing that it's like it, to be like, just make this 3-minute video. That 3-minute video, depending on what's in it, could take a full day.
Oh yeah.
Like shooting it, editing it, carting stuff back and forth, setting up shots. Like it could take, like when I was in film school making student films, you would work for 3 whole days and spend thousands of dollars on something that would come out to be 5 minutes long. Like it's so much work. So,
and if you're lucky, it is worth watching.
Yes. If you're lucky.
Like, yes. It's so difficult, especially when you're in film school, because you have like people who, it's like in any class, you have people who should definitely be in film school and like are amazing and visionary and like so good at it. And I'm assuming, Paige, you fall into that category. Well, but you also have people who like, you probably shouldn't be
in film school. Yeah.
Like, I understand that this is your dream, but like, you don't have a knack for it. So you have to like, it's hard.
Also,
I didn't go to film school, so I'm just assuming that.
It's just like therapy.
There's also
except, people's lives are, but whatever. It's fine. Yeah.
In film school also, like, there are so many different aspects to making content or making films. and they are all different skill sets. But in film school, you kind of get lumped into all of them. So like what I learned in film school is that I was a great writer, story person, idea lady. Like if you need a script for the coolest shit ever where I don't have to worry about how it's going to get made, I got you. Yeah. But if you need something to be lit correctly, I don't got you. I don't got you at all. I cannot help you. I barely passed, and I did well in film school, but like, I'm not the great cinematographer. I'm a decent editor, to be honest. Like I was pretty good at editing, but like actually shooting stuff that would not require me to over edit it later, not my skill set. And you kind of have to just admit that to yourself while you're there, but you still have to make student films. So like you're struggling through doing it, but it also gives you an appreciation for like the people who are really good at it. Like I have a friend who went to film school somewhere else, but they are an amazing cinematographer and are shit with coming up with stories. And so it's just like, it's a different skill set where
it is.
He can shoot something and make it beautiful. And then he sends me a script and I'm like, we got to throw all this out.
This is a page 1 rewrite, but the cover art is amazing.
Beautiful. Let me rewrite this entire thing and send it back to you so you can film it and make it look great. So yeah.
Oh man. Do you guys have any other questions or can I move on to, we got a viewer mail.
Other stuff.
So, okay.
A viewer mail.
Yeah. So this actually was addressed to Todd Awesome, which I can show you because it's just, I'm not going to show you the address.
Hello.
Yeah. But that's just our PO box. Anyway, so I went ahead and opened it because it was addressed to me. I didn't know that it was
going to blow this content creation
podcast related, but it's wrapped in this, right?
Okay.
Little bubble wrap.
Mm-hmm.
And I really want you to see this.
That's funny.
Mikey, do you have yours?
Yeah, I got it right here.
Paige, hold yours up again.
Micro Machines Club.
It is. Let me see your face, Paige. It is legit the exact same one.
That's
I love
amazing.
it. So that is from, I'm not going to say their last name, but it's from Eric in Nevada.
Lucas.
So thank you so much. That honestly, when I saw it, when I opened it, I was in my car because the post office box is close to where I live. So like I went to it. Actually, I grabbed lunch at the Las Palmas that's right next door to it. And then I went next door and got it. And I opened it in the car and I was like, oh my God, I should have opened this on the bonus episode because it is very related. I'm literally going to put it. I have a shelf right above me that I think I've shown on a bonus episode before. So I'm literally going to put it right next to the most likely to ghost a hoe trophy that still needs to go to Mikey's place. We had friends over and they came up here and we watched a movie because I have like a big TV and stuff up here. It's like our entertainment room. We call it the nerd theater. And one of Natalie's friends was like, why does Todd have a most likely to ghost a hoe trophy over his desk? And then I had to explain. Then I had to explain to this lady who doesn't really know me all that well about how my friend Mikey has trouble not ghosting women. And
wow, I can't believe you guys are wondering why I haven't brought it to my house to proudly display.
Well, when I come over there to bring the equipment for us to do the pool stream or the pool bonus episode, I'm definitely going to hide it somewhere in your house.
Don't do that.
Yeah. Because I want a woman to be like rifling through your medicine cabinet and then it's just like all your medicines and then it's like NyQuil, Bonine, and then you're most likely to ghost a host trophy.
I already get weird shit from people who like go on a date or two with me and then start listening. And then I get a lot of weird questions after that. So I don't need a trophy to like really bring it home, like in a physical way.
What about a tattoo?
No, definitely not.
Just
you don't have it.
Right.
I don't have any tattoos and that's not going to be my first one.
Right above the crotch that says, now you see me, now you don't.
Paige, do you have any tattoos?
Yeah. Oh, it's covered by my headphones. I've been meaning to get another one recently.
Oh, wait,
I almost got one.
Isn't it?
It's a bird.
It's a bird. That's what it is. I remember seeing it in Kansas City and I was like, oh, cool. But because I had never seen it before. By the way, Eric left a note and it just says, now you have a sandcrawler too. He didn't sign it though, so I'm assuming it's Eric because that's who it was addressed from. But you can tell from the back of it that he literally just cut with scissors I don't know if you guys can see that. It didn't focus, but it says buyer paid shipping. So like he cut his receipt and wrote that on there and then dropped it in the package. Eric, I have a lot of respect for that. I really do. I have a lot of respect for people who know what the minimum is and they aim for it every time. Like, I have this conversation with my boss a lot. They're like, it just feels like you're doing the least amount you can do to get the project done. And I'm like, that's what I'm doing. I am meeting the deadline, which is what we need to have done with what you wanted to have done.
Right.
If you want more, ask for more.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like live your life, especially at the day job, live your life doing as much as you have to do to keep your job, but nothing more.
Oh man. Yeah.
Chris isn't a Patreon member, so he will not see this. Chris is my boss. And also one of Mikey and I's best friends. Mikey, do you know the amazing news that Chris just got?
No, what?
They get a second trampoline?
Yeah.
But it's just for Mikey's.
Yes.
I still do think we should go up there one night and like just get video of you like running out of the trampoline, jumping 3 times and running away, but not tell Chris we're going to do it. So he just like runs out in his boxers like, I'll get you. Wait, what? What are you doing?
I built this.
Yes.
Well, you built this. Yeah. I think we've talked about that before, right? That's the whole
100% we've talked about it.
Yeah. It's like that time Chris invited me over to hang out and I ended up replacing his sink in his bathroom. Mm-hmm. That was what we did to hang out.
There you go.
Love Chris.
Just 2 buds replacing sinks.
All right. What else do we want to do for this bonus episode?
I mean, we talked about watching that music video. I have no idea what's in it because I have not seen it yet. So I can't vouch.
How long are we?
It doesn't have nudity in it because it is on YouTube. So we know at least that much.
Well, send me the link and I'll put it up.
Find it.
So I don't know. I'm glad we're doing this again. I've missed the bonus episodes. They're always fun because we literally just recorded yesterday morning, we recorded our 365 episode for Romance in the Pod. And then this morning we recorded our Orca episodes. And I was surprised at how much crossover there was. Like, I can't believe that Orca was trying to kidnap Richard Harris for 365 days.
Right.
It was Massimo who...
The Orca?
The Orca is the one who killed Massimo's father.
Oh, there's a live performance. Oh, here's the music video.
Okay, yeah, send it to me.
All right. Through the trees, I will follow.
I love that whenever someone asks to join the Facebook group, let me just give you an example. I love what they put down as their your favorite catchphrase. So Cole just asked to join the Facebook group.
When did I say that?
Cole says, did you read it, Mikey?
I'm reading it now.
In quotes, it says, vaginas are like fingerprints. They're all different, but they're all pretty great. Mikey, 2022. I like how he closed it with who it was and like it was a campaign for president. Mikey, 2022.
I mean, I stand by that statement.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, you're right.
Yeah.
That's probably the most correct thing you've ever said.
Out of context quotes of yourself are terrifying. I hear so many that I'm like, when did I say that? I have no idea when I said that.
All right, you guys ready to watch this music video?
Yes.
This is Michelle Monroe.
Michelle, I think it's Marone or
Marone. Michelle Marone. Okay.
Yeah.
And this is a song called "Feel It" from the movie. I'll say it. The breakout hit, 365 days. Yeah. Yeah.
Which we're doing on RTP. This isn't just out of
literally. It comes out Thursday.
Yeah.
I don't want to keep you waiting.
Let me turn it up a little bit.
That's why you blame
Oh, the sweet caress.
It's just, I think it's mostly just clips from the movie and then him singing.
It is, yeah. They literally had one camera, one light, a warehouse, and we're like, let's shoot a music video.
Let's do it. Yeah.
That is a picture. It is a picture. There's okay, we talked about this in the episode. Okay, I don't want to ruin it. But I did read when we discovered that recorded 4 songs for the movie.
Right.
Oh, that sexy ass joke. Oh my God.
The neck. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
When he started recording the quote unquote album, they released simultaneously with the runaway hit 365 days. He said, I never knew how to sing until I started recording an album. I was like, oh wow, okay.
Oh, it's so ridiculous.
But if you listen to his range, like his vocal range, I find that very easy to believe.
65 days.
Yeah. Sorry to like turn away from the camera.
I know.
Oh man.
There's a lot of lip play in this.
Yeah, in public. There's a lot of touching other people's lips in public.
And I will say, Mikey, you have gotten onto me and Natalie about like public displays of affection at Chewy's. I was not like thumb on her lip levels.
Yeah.
You were tongue on her tongue. I don't want to have this debate with you.
I feel like this contains the entire movie minus the sex scenes.
I know, like, this literally is the entire movie without
the whole
nudity.
Movie without nudity.
If you cut the nudity out, it would be this music video.
Yeah, 3 minutes.
That shot so much. I love that shot so much. Just like the
pull gun.
So fucking.
I mean, it's not the worst song in the world.
No, I mean,
it's
for
not.
A slow jam to fuck to, this is
Like
great.
I said, this whole intellectual property is like if you fed an AI person 50 Shades of Grey and 50 Shades of Grey fan fiction and it spit out its version.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, definitely is. Yeah.
Oh man, hilarious. There are other ones, but I was like, this is the one that people talk about. I guess has the most views.
I'm into it though. Definitely into it.
Oh man,
I'm not into it.
Get into it, Mikey.
I know. Honestly, Mikey, you need to get into it.
It's not every day that somebody choke slams somebody in a shower.
It is.
Maybe
but
not
they're
at your
usually
house.
arrested.
Yeah, that's true.
No, it has to be consensual, Mikey.
Yeah, you gotta consensually grab the back of people's necks.
Reach out and grab throat.
Necks. Yeah.
Yeah.
Reach out and touch dicks. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for humoring me. Oh, one of the questions that
Your own. Hang on. I'm sorry. Personal dick neck. I'm sorry.
There you go.
Sorry. It just hit me and I had to say it.
I answered it once, but I got asked a couple times where people were like, what was your last Instagram search? And I think they wanted it to be something more salacious, but it was just Dipsy when I was explaining Dipsy to you guys.
Dude, Dipsy got really deep in our likes and stuff on Twitter. I loved it.
I then proceeded to go to dinner with a friend and convince them to download it too. So like guilty on all.
I was trying to explain it to Natalie, and Natalie was like, "This sounds terrible." And then I sent her I showed her the screenshot you sent us in our messages, and she was like, "No, that seems pretty all right."
Yeah.
So what I learned was I'm bad at explaining what Dipsy is.
I think so. Yeah.
Because yeah.
Because I explained it. Well, I think it might also be like just one of those things that like. I'm sure there are men that use it and it appeals to them and that's great.
Oh, sure. Yeah. But it's predominantly female driven. And it should be.
Yes. And I think that in some ways for straight men, it is hard to understand because when I told Jake about it, he was like, I don't get why this would be hot or interesting, but good for you.
Yeah. I mean, it's just the things we find sexy are different, right? I think completely men are typically more visual and women are typically more like mental and thought driven.
Well, and when I told my friend about it at dinner, because we were at dinner, it was me, my friend Pat, and my friend Nicole. And I was telling Nicole about it. And Nicole was instantly like, what is it? I will pay for that. That is worth money to me. And Pat was like, I do not understand, why you would want something like this or how this works. But then he had a million questions about it, which was super fascinating to me to see somebody's outside perspective of like, I'm trying to understand why this is a thing for you too.
Yeah.
Which was kind of fun as well. But yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, that episode's already out on Patreon, right? It comes out tomorrow for everybody else.
Yeah.
Because it's the Lake Placid episode. And again, sorry about the audio in that episode. I apologize.
I forgot to tell you. I was going to tell you to cut the part about the cameo out so it could be a surprise, but too late.
About the yeah. It's too late. It's already in. I think it also sets up. I think it's a bit we run with a little bit. So
yeah,
I don't think I can cut it out. Anyway, that's a little behind the curtains of what it's like to record and edit podcasts. Anyway, but we probably should close it up and just promise to do these every 2 weeks like we used to.
Yeah, well, now that I'm not in different cities every few days.
Yeah. Well, and when we got back from Kansas City for
we knew
Panic
life
Fest,
was going to be
Mikey had given me COVID. Like we just needed some time to recover.
That is not proven. You can't prove that.
Well, all I can say is Mikey came with COVID, and then Natalie and I left Kansas City with COVID.
But Armando and I didn't. So lungs.
Well, you already had it though.
And I spent more time with Paige, and I only had the sniffles, and I was tired.
I know, which is why you should get fully vaccinated. I only got the first 2. I never got the booster, and it fucked me up when I got it, man. So get vaccinated.
Oh, I got a new question just now.
Oh, was it?
If you had to fight a wave of third graders that start off with 5, but every 5 minutes another group comes out with 1 more, how many waves could you survive?
Oh, damn. So I guess how quickly could you deal with X amount of third graders?
5 third graders.
Yeah, I feel like just 5 you could take out in 5 minutes, right?
So and they're not running from you, right? There's like there's not a ton of cardio. More
in my mind, it's like a room. So like you guys are trapped in there together. You kill them. Once they're dead, someone comes in and pulls their body out to make room for more dead third graders.
I would say at least 15 waves of third grade.
Like desktop tower defense. I got asked, and I think I did answer this one, but somebody asked me if I would rather fight an Armando-sized Blaine or a bunch of Blaine-sized Armandos. And I'm like, I know we joke about Blaine being small, but Blaine is like 5'11" and works the fuck out. So an Armando-sized Blaine is terrifying. And small
Armando-sized Blaine is taking over governments.
Armando-sized Blaine is Conan the Barbarian.
Yeah.
It's terrifying.
He's the Terminator.
Yeah, absolutely. He cannot stop. Killing is all he knows how to do.
He came through time for you, Paige.
No, Kyle Reese comes through time.
Oh, sorry,
I guess the Terminator does too, but not in that romantic way.
He came through time for Sarah Connor, but to kill her.
To kill her. And not the La Petite Mort, like the actual Mort.
No, not the tiny death or the small death or whatever.
The tiny death.
What they call orgasms in France. Yeah. Anyway, so we will see you guys next episode, which should be in 2 weeks. Love you, mean it. Don't get arrested. We'll see you guys next time.
Bye.